This is Michelle, and you're listening to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a show where I sit down and have conversations with influencers on a range of topics, anything from natural hair, employment, discrimination, food, relationships, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you want to send me an email, hit me up at michelle@wordsmichelle.com. Thanks for tuning into the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. I was so happy searching through my vault of interviews and finding this gem. I interviewed Celina Caesar-Chavannes, the former parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, in December 2019, and I promptly posted the interview on my blog in January 2020. Although I already featured this wonderful woman a year ago, I always knew in the back of my mind that I would share her encouraging and uplifting words on my podcast. In this episode, Celina speaks about entering politics, delivering her speech on black hair to members of parliament, microaggressions, and why she chose not to run in the last election. Just a few fun facts on Celina. In 2015, she was the first black person to be elected into a federal riding of Whitby, Ontario. She's an entrepreneur and ran a healthcare-based research management firm for 10 years. She's an author. She recently wrote Can You Hear Me Now?, her memoir revealing her struggles, as well as a celebration of her achievements. She's a wife and a very cool mom. And to be 100 with you, Celina is just that. She's real, she's raw, she's honest. But what I love, and I mean what I really love about her, is that talking to her is like talking with a friend. We seriously had some friendship vibes going on. Yes, the combo was epic. So after thanking Celina for taking the time to speak with me, I started the show asking her why she got into politics.
February of 2014, I became a member of a party for the first time in my life.
Wow.
Became a member of the Liberal Party because I always voted Liberal. And then in March, on March 8th, 2014, so this is 3 months, I got this email that said, invite her to run. Do you know a woman who'd be interested in running in the next federal election? I was like, reply, yeah, me.
Oh my God.
And the rest is history.
Wow. that was a short span of time that all happened, no?
A lot happens when, there's divine intervention and there's, the world, the universe is opening up and you're ready to accept it. So, it's one thing to say the world is opening up and I'm hearing about political capital and going, you know what? I've never taken a poli-sci course. I don't like politics and I'm not interested. And then I don't do it. But I said, that sounds interesting. I actually had a year of yes. So I read Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of Yes. And I actually had a year of just saying yes to things that popped into my head. And my husband thought I was nuts. We bought a condo in Toronto. We bought 2 condos in Toronto. We lost a lot of money because we couldn't afford the second one.
Oh, no. I love that you laugh at that. You're a good person because you laughed at that. Wow.
But you know what? Like it's about living life and understanding that the universe opens up in ways for you. And then it's either you accept the gifts that it's giving to you or you shut the door on it and say no. And why would you do that? I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love what you just said. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to ask you, because actually my cousin who lives in Switzerland, she shared a post, but the funny thing is, it was a post of you. And the funny thing about that was it was a post that I already saw. And I'm thinking my cousin's Canadian. She just lives in Switzerland now because she works at the UN. And it was a post of you donning your beautiful hair. So I think it was a couple of years ago when you had that, I don't want to say speech, but it was a speech, right? And you were talking about women and women that have certain hair and this and that. What prompted you to do that? Because I loved every minute of it. How did you decide to do that in that way you did it?
Yeah, so there was a moment that built up to that, and I won't discuss the actual moment, but something happened where it just all of a sudden dawned on me that people don't understand what Black women go through on a daily basis with and it's not just Black women, like our children, where you hear stories of daycares just pulling, a young girl's hair into elastic bands because she came in with an afro, or, are girls being removed from school because their hair is out, or it's too poofy, or it's in braids. And after hearing this person talk, I realized you actually don't get it. And then I thought, well, most people probably don't get it. And then I thought, well, I should do something about that. And I thought, okay, so how do I do this speech in a way that's impactful, that I could speak to those young girls without them feeling like sort of ashamed about it. When people are talking to you specifically, if you as a Black girl, about your Black hair and your Black, and you feel sort of like, oh God, please don't shine the light on me, just like everybody take the attention. So I wanted to do it in a way that I didn't have to explicitly say, hey, Black girl, but I wanted them to see me, and I wanted them to know that when I talked about the size of her lips, or the size of her hips, or the size, we know we're talking about Black girls when you're talking about the size of our hips and our lips.
True. True.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had to say Black women. I didn't have to say those words for people to understand that you, little Black girl, deserve to be here. You, young Black woman, deserve to be wherever you are in your natural state, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because I'm here in Parliament doing it. So
Exactly, and I like that because you were rocking the braids, and I kind of like because I follow you. I know what your hair looks like. You have different hairstyles
all the time.
Yes, and there ain't no shame in that. That's awesome. So when I saw that, I mean, I personally like it because I mean, like, I'm a Black woman, and I know what it's like to have my hair, like, to rock it in extensions and to rock it natural. So for me, you were speaking to me. You were speaking to little girls and stuff like that. You know how it feels to be at work, and then people have questions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so, like, even after I did the video, the questions came, and so I did another one where, people were asking, is that your hair? It grew so long. And I'm like,
that can't be true. Please tell me that's not happening.
It is my hair. I paid $6 a pack. It's mine.
I went to the okay.
I have the receipt on that. And, yes, I do wash it. And no, you cannot touch it.
Yeah.
I'm not an exhibit.
I like that. I may have to take that one from you. Exactly. Yeah. I'm an exhibit. Yeah. I mean,
unless I'm on display somewhere, please, with a rope around me, on display, don't touch me.
Yeah.
I'm not an exhibit.
Exactly. Preach on. What was it like being like a member of Parliament as a Black woman? And I think it kind of talks with what you just said, but
yeah,
how did that go down? How did you feel?
So, and I talked about it a little bit this morning. I was on the radio this morning, and it was a painfully beautiful experience. That's the only way I could describe it.
Yeah.
Like, it was painful because there's a lot of things that I witnessed and I felt. And I said for the, over the 4 years, at the beginning, I kept telling my husband, this job is killing me. Like, I could actually feel it killing me. And
wow,
then I realized that for the first time that I was a Black woman. Like, you actually felt, there's a certain thing that makes you sort of, I'm the Black woman in here. Like, you're looking around and it's like, oh, dang, look at my skin color. Right? Oh my God, I'm totally, and I felt that. And that was the painful part. The beautiful part was realizing the power that I had in the realization that I am this Black woman. It's not a burden, and it wasn't a burden. And in February of 2018 or 2017, I can't remember, when I wrote the love letter to Black women, it was when I realized that this feeling that I have is not a burden. It's love. It's a responsibility to speak up, to talk about things, to ensure that the next Black woman, the next woman of color, the next woman who shows up in that space is not surprised by the structural violence that runs through the veins of that building. those buildings had enacted policies that impact our community to this day. And that doesn't just disappear when you paint the walls. That exists in the space. And so when we enter into those spaces, that cloud, I feel, was around me. And I just needed to bring my love into that space. So I was more than happy to invite sisters there. We were in the dining room. Anytime they showed up, I was like, let's go. Let's walk these halls.
Wow. I'm sure that was I'm sure you got lots of looks. I'm sure.
Yeah. And we always sat at the center table when we went into the dining room. Yes, we are here and we're going to sit at no, we don't want that one. We want that table.
That's awesome.
Because, no, we're here. And I didn't feel like we needed to be shy while we were there.
That's true.
It didn't mean we needed to be loud. It just meant that we needed to be present as our authentic selves.
How did you deal with the microaggressions? Because aggressions happen to most women of color, most Black women, let's just say that, in any field or any job. So yes. How did you deal with it?
So at first, I kept thinking, oh my God, you're being too sensitive about this. And I had one person at one point say, oh, you just need to have thicker skin. And I was just like, but I've been twice as good, twice as fast, twice as everything all my life. I have twice as thick skin too. You can't do everything twice as and not have thick enough skin. So I'm like, no, that's not it. And as they were happening, at first I have an incredible support system at home. So I'd come home and I'd be like, this happened. Or I call my husband and say, this dude told me he wanted to run his fingers through my hair. Or they tagged.
What happened? Tell me.
Yeah, I know, right? I have a foul mouth, so that never happened again.
That's funny. Wow.
So and then, I get tagged in pictures and I'm like, I didn't go to this event. And I look at it, it's like, it's Mitzi Hunter. I'm like,
oh, no way.
And I started to come home and tell my husband about it. And then I just said, enough. Because the conversations that happen at water coolers, at offices across the world are about sports and about the news and about all this stuff. But there are conversations where Black women say to each other, girl, did you hear what the guy just said to me? Or did you hear what she said? And why aren't we amplifying those conversations? Why aren't we putting it out there that these things happen to us and it's wrong? You can't tell me that the experiences of Black women don't matter. And so the more I started to put it out there, the more I think people appreciated it, but the more hate that I received.
Oh.
People don't like Black women who speak awkward conversations. So
then did you actually, I was going to ask you if you chose to shut it down or you just kind of kept going on, just
keep going.
Yeah.
You keep going. I mean, I think I don't think I put out as much stuff as I would have wanted to. I had to be selective and time it and strategic. And I think I would have had to do that anyways. Otherwise, it's just a Black girl yapping about microaggressions all day long. Don't she have a job to do? So I had to put it out in stages. But it was necessary to keep that conversation going. We can't create equitable spaces, and we can't expect for spaces to acknowledge us and appreciate us there if we keep changing who we are to fit those spaces. So we want to go into spaces and people appreciate us and have confidence in us, but we keep adjusting ourselves to fit at those tables. And we don't need to do that. We need to call things out when they happen. And I knew for a fact that they couldn't fire me for 4 years. So I could talk about it. Some people can't. They can't talk about it because they're going to lose their jobs, or they're going to be labeled as the angry Black woman. Well, go ahead, label away. I'm guaranteed to be there for 4 years. So I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to use this microphone to talk about things that nobody else wants to talk about because it's too awkward. And we need to start having those conversations. And I'm not saying nobody else, I'm saying they're rare conversation.
After listening to what Celina said, I told her that I liked the fact that she used her voice for the voiceless.
I think I just realized that I needed to. And I mean, I don't like using the term voice for the voiceless. I think, when people think that they don't have a voice, that's when they stop using it. And even if it's a whisper, I encourage women to keep talking, to document things that are happening to them, to write it down, to tell other people, to find allies, because that is the way we make things change. And for me, it was a responsibility that came with the job. Like I represented 130,000 people in Whitby, but I represented a much bigger community based on who I am and the experience I bring. And so I didn't have a choice but to decide at some point, which was maybe about 2 years into the mandate, that, yeah, I'm going to use this platform to shake things up a little bit. And that was a conscious choice, because it comes with costs. It comes with, okay, Celina, are you going to talk about this stuff, or are you going to try to stay on the track to become a minister? Are you going to push and try to challenge the status quo, or are you going to get comfortable in your job? And the choice is, no, I have a community to represent, and that's all I'm here for.
Yeah. Why did you decide not to run in the last election?
I just think that, we're often told that we need to stay. We know you're the only one there. You have a seat at the table. You need to be there. But I also think that leaving is one of the most powerful things that we could do when we choose to leave, right? Yeah. And I wasn't going to let anyone make that decision for me. I wasn't going to put my fate in anybody else's hand when I knew that what was being served at the table was not something I wanted to eat. So I knew it was time for me to leave. And I think it's important for young women, especially, no matter what you look like, to know that that's okay. When you feel in your gut, I don't care who calls you sensitive or you need thicker skin or whatever they want to call you. When you feel in your gut it's time to go, roll out. Like, give yourself permission to, or let me give you permission to leave. You need to leave, and that is okay. And whether it's a job or a relationship or anything that you're investing your time and your energy in, and you're not getting a positive return on your investment, time to go.
Oh my God, I love that. Sorry. I'm sorry. I really understand that. I really feel that. So
yeah. But it's awesome. A matter of knowing your worth. And I know how much I'm worth. I know how much I'm worth to the party. I know how much I'm worth to the political system. I know how much I'm worth. And I know that I wasn't getting a positive return on my investment. That's why I left my job as a parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister. I left my job as parliamentary secretary to international development. I was not getting a positive return on what I was investing. And so it was a choice for me to leave. And I was not giving anybody else that authority to take that choice away from me.
That's some powerful words, actually. I like that a lot. I think people do need to hear that, because what you just said, you didn't give them the power to get rid of it. Oh my God, that just kind of sends chills. I like that. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
I think someone hearing that would feel so much better about any decision they actually make, because they're making that decision. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, leaving, or you're quitting. No, you're not quitting. I'm making a choice.
Yeah.
To leave. Yeah. I'm not quitting anything. Saying, look, I'm done with y'all. Bye.
Exactly. I like that. That works for me. So how did you feel being called one of the Challenge Women of the Year? That's pretty huge.
So you know what? I was sitting in this exact same seat. So there's a window directly in front of me. And that morning, actually the exact night before, I was upstairs, in the bedroom with my husband, and we were just chatting. And I said, I'd made these lists before, top 40, top whatever lists. And I said, babe, this year, I don't think I'm going to make any lists. And he said, don't worry, babe. You know, it takes people, 6 months to 2 years to catch up to you sometimes. You're a little out there. And I thought, oh, but whatever, it is what it is. And then the next day, the article that I wrote with Refinery 29 about Gabrielle Union came out. And my phone was pinging. And then all of a sudden it started pinging a lot, like with a greater frequency. And I was like, what's going on? And then I saw this article about Chatelaine, and I was tagged in, and I kept thinking, why would I be tagged in this Woman of the Year thing? And I clicked on it, and I still was like, why is my name here? And then I had to click on the article and scroll through, and I started crying. Like the snow was falling. Like I remember the moment the snow was falling, and I started crying. For someone to say that even in this last year that has been tremendously difficult, that I see you, that I see that what you've done, yeah, that was pretty dope. To say that and to recognize it and to put me on a list with some pretty amazing women, that was incredible. And I think it's a testament to living authentically. And that's powerful for me.
So you were completely caught off guard. You didn't expect it, didn't know anything about it. Do we not tell anybody? It just comes out and you find out?
Honestly, it came out, and that tweet came out, and it really took a long time to write, because literally the night before I said I'm not going to be on any lists, and I'd forgotten about it. And I'm looking at it, I was like, well, why would they tag me in this? Tag me, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm looking at it, I'm scrolling, I'm like, no way. And I'm like looking around my house, nobody's at home because I don't have a job. So nobody's here. Like, no way. No way. No, my God, no way. And nobody was here to listen to it. So
as you can tell, Celina was quite excited. In addition to being one of the women featured in Chatelaine's Women of the Year, Celina was featured in Oprah's Magazine. She was highlighted because of the speech on Black hair that she made on Parliament in 2017.
There you go, on page 108. And that's the article. It was, it was about what are you willing to stand up for? And it was a feature on that video.
That's
the whole article is about that video.
So honestly, oh God, I can't. That actually gives me shivers. That would be like it for me. Eh? I'd be like, I'm good now, Lord. I'm good.
I know. I keep telling my kids, Oprah has touched me, and everything Oprah has touched turns to gold.
I was equally excited for Celina too. As we came to the end of the interview, Celina discloses that her life wasn't easy. Just like everyone else, it includes disappointments, struggles, and bouts of unhappiness.
I hope that when people watch this, or especially young people watch this, that they know that my life didn't just go from A to being here. I graduated high school, like top of my class, honor roll all 4 years.
Wow.
University took me 6 years to finish a 3-year degree. Like I got kicked out. I was like, it was a hot mess.
That's actually good to know. To be honest, you know why? Because it makes you human. Because people struggle, right? I mean, some people really, really struggle. So for you to say that, for everything you've accomplished, and to say that, it was hard and this and that, whatever, that's amazing. It just helps someone. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's life.
Yeah.
And for some people, life goes in a straight line, and that's totally cool. But my life isn't straight lines, and it's messy, and it's, I try to tidy up, and then it gets messy again, and it's totally cool. And you know what? Like, every time I talk to my mom, she's, and I'm always on some new adventure doing something with my life. She says, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this, and I can't believe you're doing that. I can't believe you ran in federal politics. You weren't even interested in politics. I can't believe. And I said, Mom, at the end of it all, I want my tombstone to read, all she had left to do was die. Because I've done everything. I've lived my life.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So that's my that's what I keep in my head every time I think, I don't really want to, or, I can't be bothered. I think, no, let's live, let's enjoy, let's meet people and exchange ideas and connect and be more human than we are anything else. And I just find life fascinating. I love living it.
Wow, she's such an inspiration, eh? So happy I decided to post her talk. I thanked her again for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for saying yes. I was like nervous.
Oh my God, do not.
I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie. But you were so gracious, and I think that's what I liked. Like, you were just really, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, I love Celina. You were like,
well, one of my mantras is to whom much is given, much is expected. And I mean, I didn't get here by myself. I got here because people who I know and people who I don't know, names that I recognize and names that I don't recognize, faces that I've seen and faces that I've never seen, have allowed me to be here. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And for us to then say, when someone says, hey, Celina, can you help or can you do? And for me to say, yeah, no, 7:30 on a, what day is it, Thursday? On a Thursday, yeah, I'm busy. No, I just threw a top on. I literally have sweatpants on underneath this, and I'm like, put on some lipstick. And well, you're a connector. You connect people, you stories, and I mean, it's not something that I do. So I appreciate the platform that you give us to tell our stories, even if it's just a little piece of it, to express ourselves and to be our authentic selves in a space or a medium that allows it to happen. So thank you.
You're welcome, Celina. Thanks again for listening to the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. Just a reminder, you can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to the shows on my blog at wordswithmichelle.com. If you have any questions or like to provide a comment or feedback, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at michelle@wordswithmichelle.com. You can also email me if you're interested in sponsoring my podcast. Thanks again for listening to the show, and until next time, bye.